taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week. This is Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Augmented Reality Podcast, your source for news, leaks, and insights about games in the gaming industry. It is November 9th, 2019. This is the Saturday edition of the show. Welcome everybody. My name is Ashtonity. I'm here with, as always, with Cybsidian, who is almost done booting up, so he'll be with us momentarily. But I wanted to get the show started for all of you faithful folks who are here in the live chat. I hate starting late on you all, so we're just gonna run with it. So anyway, thank you for joining us. We love the number of people that join us for this Saturday morning show is always mind blowing. So thank you so much. This is the Augmented Reality Podcast. As I said, if you're listening live today, please do say hello in the live chat. Send us your questions and comments there as well. We'll read and respond to as many as we can throughout the podcast. And please do not forget to slam that like button. It likes it rough, and it tells us and YouTube that you appreciate this content. If you're listening after the fact on one of the audio-only platforms, we're glad you're here as well. We appreciate your likes and follows. It does take us a day or two to get the podcast up to those platforms, so if you want the latest info sooner, I encourage you to hit the link in the description to subscribe to the Triple S League YouTube channel. Also want to give a special thanks to Terror K, our newest channel member. Thank you for joining. That really does help us. That's really encouraging, especially with some of the news that's going on with YouTube right now. You may have seen yesterday Markiplier, very popular YouTuber, one of my favorite YouTubers, and probably the guy that inspired me to get into YouTube. He posted a video about a big problem that is happening, and he basically, excuse me, pardon my biological throat having issues. You don't have that problem, do you, Syb?
Nope.
You just simulate it. We put in a very expensive clearing my throat sound simulator. Anyway, so Markiplier posted a video about how a bunch of his fans, after he did a particular live stream in which he was having people vote on certain things using red emotes or green emotes, they were getting banned automatically by YouTube.
They weren't just getting banned.
They were getting
their entire account.
Yeah, their entire Google account was getting shut down by YouTube's / Google's automated systems. And then
there were work accounts that are like, for example, you can set up a business, then you can buy a certain number of like entrances or whatever for Google for like email and stuff like that. You can set it up with your own unique like @ thing, and some of these accounts were getting banned. And in one case, it's like they banned and deleted the guy's email account, business account, and then they deleted all of the additional email accounts that account had been used to set up. So his entire network for his entire company, for their entire emails, just vanished like that.
And the scariest thing is that it was an automated system that did that. And they think that, or Mark is pretty certain it was due to the quote-unquote spamming of emotes that was happening during this live stream, where he was asking people to vote using emotes. And these were his... the thing also is, these were his channel members. Like, we just had Terror K sign up to be a member. These are people that were paying money to his channel to support him and to get access to these emotes. And then the other thing is that they were appealing, of course, their accounts getting shut down, and then these appeals were getting rejected.
Yeah, because the appeal rejection system is really flawed in and of itself. Because the people who are paid to go through these lists to verify this stuff, most of them are being paid minimum wage. Most of them are living in a not great part of the world or the country. And most of them are paid via volume that they get through. So the easiest way to deal with anything is to just hit auto deny filter, because they're rewarded based off of how many times let me rephrase it. They're penalized for how many times a bot gets through the system. So it's like, okay, here's the deal. You have to check 2,000 of these appeals a day, and if you put the okay stamp on any of the appeals, and that account turns out to be a bot or a spammer, or says something that people don't like to hear, then you are going to be penalized, and you're going to get a bad rating, and you're not going to be able to like keep your job or continue to make money, or they're going to like cut away at your hours or something like that. So really, in order to be safe, because you're not rewarded for when you do the right thing, instead you're punished for when you accidentally do the wrong thing. So the easiest way to handle this is every single appeal that comes your way, you just instantly click no. Because you're rewarded for that. You're rewarded for doing that, but you're not rewarded for doing what, is the right thing.
It's a messed up way of setting it up. It really is. That screws over their users. I don't know what on earth Google is thinking with this system. And Mark is pissed. Mm-hmm. He is
he's really upset.
So mad. I have never seen him angry like this, and he was really holding it together. But yeah, tons of his members, people that are supporting his channel freely with their own money, had their entire Google accounts shut down. And this just goes to show the absolute ludicrousy of using these automated systems and giving them so much power. You want to use automated systems to flag things in order to have human beings review what's going on? Sure, that's one thing. When you're a company with systems as big as Google and YouTube, yes, you've got to use automated systems. But this is scary, folks, especially as people who are trying to make a living doing this, and we don't yet. I'm not sure if a lot of you are aware of this, but there's a lot of there seems to be some misconception out there among some people who think that YouTubers are swimming in money, and we're not. So the idea that this would happen.
I mean, some YouTubers are.
Well, when you get really, really big,
like,
guy like Markiplier, he's doing well.
The system right now is set up in a way that, and we were just talking about this. It's like the system, it used to be that everybody had a fair chance. You just started your channel, you got as much of a fair chance as anybody else, as long as you're doing the things that you have to do. Now that's not the case. Now YouTube and Google has said basically they only want people who are really famous, who are already really up there, who are actors and politicians and the right sort of people. They only want them having the voice and getting success, and that everybody who's low on the totem pole, like, they've taken away their AdSense, they've taken away their partnership programs, they've taken away their ability to be noticed. And the reasoning behind this is like, well, there's an endless supply of people, and there's an endless supply of people who will get ahead no matter what, and those are the people that we're going to use, and everybody else doesn't matter. So this has really changed the spirit of YouTube in general. It used to be YouTube, meaning that you watching, every single one of you can have a place here and talk about stuff and do stuff. And now it's like, oh, no. You get to sit down and watch as we like curate a list of things that we want you to see. And that every once in a while, one of you can become one of us. But that's a really difficult prospect now.
Yeah, it really defeats the purpose of that even playing field and not having sort of this elitism. But anyway, I mean, I don't want to get too far down that rabbit trail because it's not what you folks came to listen to, but it is relevant in the sense that we're seriously looking at the possibility that that YouTube can't be the permanent home of the Triple S League. Like, we're going to have some decisions to make, especially considering some of the new regulations with the FCC that are coming in. at the beginning of next year. Quite frankly, we can't afford a $40,000+ fine if somebody decides that we have a video that was targeted toward children and we didn't mark it as targeted toward children. We forgot to check that box. So that's really, there's some troubling stuff going on. I don't want to depress you all. We really love our community, and we really appreciate all of you being here to support us. One of the best things you could do is join our Discord channel, our Discord server rather. I'll use the link in the description below. That'll really, then you're in our community with us, and then wherever we go, you'll know where we are.
Yeah, right. we're not leaving
we're not leaving YouTube.
I don't like how you phrase that. We're not leaving anytime soon, and we will not leave even if another even if another platform shows up all of a sudden. We're not going to just abandon ship. We're going to it comes down to what we're going to focus on and that kind of stuff. And it's like, as long as we don't have to pay anything, YouTube will probably still be here. But as I was saying we're doing a panel recently, and as I was telling the people there, it's like, this thing called YouTube is here to stay. Now, I said this thing called YouTube, not the company called YouTube. The concept of uploading videos, having people react to them, communicating and then bouncing stuff back. This is now a permanent part of psyche amongst modern day people. And the only way to get rid of this is to probably nuke everybody back to the Stone Age.
Yeah, this is the new thing. People don't want to go back to, cable channels and satellite TV.
Yeah, the cable channels are a thing of the past. I mean, they're already dying basically. And I mean, it's really fun to watch, actually. It's really fun to watch some of these massive companies. There's a couple of companies that are going to crash and burn over the next 3 years. It's going to be so funny to watch that, because these are the people who even still today look down on everybody else around them and say, excuse me, how dare you do our job? It's like the end is coming for them, but the end is not coming for this thing. If YouTube goes belly up today or tomorrow, by Monday, there'll be a replacement. There really, really will be, because right now, the only thing holding back the expanse of another company doing more of this kind of stuff is the fact that Google is under, they're going undercutting. There we go. They're undercutting ads. And that's really because right now they're running YouTube at a cost. They're not making any money off of YouTube, and they complain about this. And some people go, "Oh, really? Well, I guess I could watch more ads or something." It's like, no, you don't understand. Normally, ads would run at like 10 cents per ad, for person, watching or being impacted in a reasonable way. Right now, AdSense is doing that for like 1/100th of that price. And so what they're doing is they're making it so that it's not profitable for any competitors to start their business. It's like you're looking to sell lemonade, and you move into the neighborhood to start selling lemonade, and somebody's selling lemonade for 1 penny a gallon. And you're like, oh, wow, I can't compete with that. That's crazy. They must be losing money. They are losing money. And so you pack up and leave, but they still have the mass market. They still have
then they get all the business. That's the thing.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
It's like, well, where are they making up that money? They're making that money in everything else that's going on, especially selling your data and knowing exactly what you're doing, what you're watching, and all that kind of stuff. So it's rough.
So anyway, we do have some decisions to make, like I said. But we are, we're committed to continuing to do this. We love doing this. This is what we want to be doing. And as long as it is even remotely financially viable, we're going to keep doing this. But thank you all so much for your support. And thank you, Tara K, for that membership. Really appreciate that. All right, on to the gaming news of the day. We are going to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2's rather problematic launch on PC. We are going to talk about how Bioware or Anthem has lost its head again, and not in the way you may be thinking. They've lost their project lead, basically.
Again.
So there's nobody at the helm over there right now. What's going to happen with that? But well, we'll dive into that. But then also, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the PS4 and Xbox achievements / trophies have been released, and they reveal some interesting tidbits about the game. So we're going to dive into that. I think we'll actually do that later. Let's dive into this other stuff first. So Anthem. So Bioware has lost Chad Robertson, the head of live services. He is leaving the company after spending 14 years there. And he has said in a 2-part Twitter thread, "This is my last week at Bioware. I've been at the company for 14 years, and I'm grateful for everything I've been a part of here. Star Wars, Anthem, the Austin studio, and Bioware are in good hands. You can expect good things ahead." Not sure if he's entirely being ingenuous there, but I mean, obviously he's going to post something positive when you're walking out the door. That's what you do. Unless you're Mark Kern, which, I mean, I appreciate his candor, being a former Blizzard employee, the former head of World of Warcraft. But anyway, usually, they post something positive on their way out the door, because that's good form. But what do you think about this side? Do you think he actually has hope for the future of Anthem?
Oh, absolutely not. Nobody does. That's why they've had what, 3 heads now leave. Basically, when you're so talking to some Bioware people yesterday and the day before, this is kind of what was. I'm not going to quote anybody directly, but this is basically how it went. So nobody wants this job, and everybody who's being approached to say, "Hey, can you take this over?" is saying, "You put me in charge of this thing. I'm going to unfortunately have to leave the company, because there's no future on this title. There is zero future on this title. There is zero anybody who wants to take this over, because what EA is asking them to do is say, hey, okay, so we really need this fixed. We know we kind of screwed this up to begin with, but we need this fixed. So you're in charge of the thing now. Fix it within like a year or a little less, and then you're going to stay on the project for the next 3-4 years as we use it to basically experiment with other live service stuff." And everybody's like, "No thanks." Because why? Because it is killing your career. If you move to Anthem, that is your career done. You are not going to be getting anywhere with this game. Right now, as good as Sean Murray has managed to revive No Man's Land, or No Man's Sky, sorry, No Man's Land, No Man's Sky, as much as he's been able to do that, he was also forced to, because nobody is going to hire Sean Murray. Like, maybe if their next game has pretty good success, then and only then might he be able to find another job at another company at some point. But right after No Man's Land launched, everybody looking at that, if he had gone to any company and said, "Yeah, we just had this amazing No Man's Sky, and I want to work for you guys now," every single one of them would have passed on him, because he's just too hot. He's just too he has a record that is not going to work well, and there's nothing to be done. And so right now, if you sign up to be the head of Anthem, basically what you're doing is you're taking something that you don't like, you don't care about, was screwed up from the beginning. You're taking responsibility for it all, and you're not even certain whether or not EA is going to actually continue to pay for the darn thing. And that at any moment, specifically maybe after the next Dragon Age game drops, if that's a failure, then the whole studio gets shut down. And then in your next job, you're going to sit there and try, job interview. You're going to sit there and try to explain how you were in charge of Anthem, and how for 2 or 3 years or whatever, you basically managed to just keep this thing limping along. That's what people are going to see. That's what they're going to hear. That's what they're going to tell. And and it's weird like this. I mean, I've been in this position once before. I was trying to get a job at this one place and I ended up getting it. But the biggest concern they had is that I was no longer working at my previous company. It's like, well, my previous company was, time gated work. So it's like, it's done now. It's over now. Well, is there any way you could have kept your job? That was a question. It's like, no, like they only hired from this time to this time because it only ran from this time to this time. After that, nobody has a job because it's a temporary thing. But is there some way that you could have made it so that it wasn't a temporary thing? And I'm like, huh, okay. So there are people like this who, unfortunately, a lot of them run businesses who see only success in the eyes of a successful project, or in a way that you can explain away a successful project. Because Lord knows, Bobby Kotick and a couple other people over at Blizzard, none of them have succeeded in their jobs. They've all failed upwards, like project after project. They failed from one thing, gone into the next, and then successfully gone into the next thing. It's like how this stuff happens. You shake your head and whatever. But this is kind of what's happening here. So nobody at BioWare wants this job. And everybody who's being offered it is being like, no, if you make me take this job, unfortunately, I have to quit. Because there's no future in this game. And they're like, so the only person who might take it is somebody who's, really, really interested in gutting it out and rebuilding it from scratch. That they have that they have kind of this idea, this vision, where to take it and kind of roll with it. This is possible. It's possible if you were to like completely gut it, redo it, but you'd also need to have the team that was capable of pulling this off.
Right. If you were the guy who took Anthem and completely remade it so it was the best thing ever after taking it over from somebody else, that might look good on your resume. But the chances of that actually happening, I mean, if they're looking around the studio and saying, "Yeah, that's not going to happen," then yeah, I see where that would be career suicide. All right, I don't know if there's anything more to say about that.
It's still, from what I'm hearing, and this is the other problem, is that they don't want this game to be completely remade and relaunched, as in like an Anthem 2.0. They're not really interested in that. Mostly what they're interested in is improving the system so that they can have a whole bunch of improvements for the engine for the next Dragon Age game, which is the next thing that's coming out with this particular engine, or the next Mass Effect game, which is coming out basically after this one, after the Dragon Age game. They're supposedly kicking that back into high gear. They did this bunch of stuff for N7 Day. They answered a bunch of really interesting questions and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
All right. And speaking of semi-disasters, we've got Red Dead Redemption 2, which has come to PC. It was highly
we should actually talk about Mass Effect.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So basically, Casey Hudson has hinted at the strong possibility that they're actually going to go ahead with this, and that they're actually going to try and make a new Mass Effect game, and that they're taking a lot of these concepts that they never had time to work for or work with, and they're using those to kind of like reinvigorate the idea and the concept. And he did this Twitter post where he's like, there's so many stories yet to tell, and so he's basically promising that they're going to start working on Mass Effect, which, shocker, I mean, everybody Everybody just wanted them to do this when they were working on Anthem. Like, ugh. So yeah, new Mass Effect is in the works. Basically, this has been confirmed by Casey Hudson over at Bioware. So as long as Dragon Age doesn't bomb totally, then looks like they've got something going for it. So yeah. And there's a lot of people, especially a lot of old Bioware people who are they look at this with some happiness. Daniel Erickson was posting about this on his Twitter the other day too. So this is something that I think we're going to see for sure, but it's still a ways away yet. Some really great pictures, by the way, of some like concept stuff that they threw together. So yeah. Anyways, sorry. Okay,
Yeah, no,
now we can move
that's
on.
good. No, Mass Effect is a good topic. If you have more to say on that, go ahead.
Well, here, did you? Here, I'll send you these pictures. Because some of these are really decent. The first picture here is of this. There's actually two of these where it's kind of like they're in water worlds, or they look like they're in a form of water world. So there's this one.
It's going to take me a sec to get them up on the screen.
Yeah, obviously. But it's the concept that they seem to be going for, which is kind of weird, is they're just popping Normandy into this stuff. So this is kind of weird in the sense of like, so is this pre or post the third game? And so this is the kind of this is really interesting because it's like part of me wants to say that this is post the number 3, but they could be doing something like just before it, because again, one of the big questions that they were asked is whether or not for sure what ending was canon, and they shied away from that and said all of the endings are canon endings. It's like not the answer that we wanted. Could they just be like bypassing this for now, trying to like gather more information if they were to do a continuation of the trilogy past the Reaper War? It's like, could they? Should they? Would they? Well, they should. I don't know how they do it because they basically wrote themselves into a corner. Like, they're the one ending where they kind of like destroyed all tech might be the best because basically it's kind of like a mini reset. People would be able to like get stuff back up and running, but like governments would have been like totally splintered. The relays would be basically fried, and they would have to they'd have to rely on sublight or kind of like the FTL jumps that their own ships can do from like area to area. So this would mean that there would be no Citadel. Not a Citadel ruling council. The Citadel would be stuck in Earth space. So this could have really interesting dynamics for the future. They could also go with the combination one, the synthesis one. I think it's what it's called. They could go with that, and that would definitely offer some new like routes and avenues to go in with character progression and whatnot. And there's tons of stuff that they could do and that they could implement that way. But I think they'd be tempted to go for like the kind of like the post-apocalyptic world, because that's basically what would happen, and then you'd actually have the ability to like have all these different governing entities constantly fighting with each other, because now the whole galaxy is basically shattered into like little cordon off areas, and then that way you can actually progress that slow. Excuse me, stupid hiccup. You could actually progress the world slower that way.
Okay.
And you could have like your first game in the new series would be kind of like local to Seoul, as they were like slowly were like putting stuff back together, slowly starting to expand over the next, over the handful of star systems in that area, and then they, push out from there to the next location, and slowly, slowly go, slowly. That's possible. That's possible. It's probably the best route for them to take the story in, because again, it's really controlled. If they try to do the synthesis one, it's like it does offer a lot more unique, imagine being able to customize your character, but you can customize you customize your regular side of yourself, but you also can customize the super AI part / side of you too. So that's kind of cool and interesting. So
yeah, very.
Yeah,
But yeah, it does seem like they're going to have to pick an ending.
Yeah, and like I said, it's probably going to be the post-apocalyptic one where everything gets fried, because then that's the only world in which Shepard actually lives anyway. So,
Oh, there you go. And honestly, like a post-apocalyptic sci-fi epic, set on that sort of Star Trek scale, where you're in contact with all these other cultures, and you have this alliance. That sounds like a really cool concept. Like a post-apocalyptic on Earth, that's been done a whole bunch of times, and it's a fun genre. But yeah, to have it on a more galactic scale, that's a pretty cool idea. I'm gonna bring up this second picture you sent me here. So, yeah, it really shows this water world concept. Really interesting. Really interesting.
So yeah, I don't think they should be putting the Normandy in there, because again, it kind of crashed.
Well,
in
unless
all
it
of the
got
scenarios.
remade, maybe it's the Normandy 2
That was the Normandy 2,
or 3 or
the
4,
Normandy
7,
3.
12.
Yeah. And it would explain, there would be an explanation as to why, because it's not like they can invent new ships if they're going this way, and so they're just getting to these worlds where it's like everything's kind of reset, and I mean, in some cases it's a nightmare scenario. Yeah, the Hanar world would be really interesting. My favorite couple is the Hanar / Asari, because all that goodness. So yeah, I think this is kind of where they're going, just based off of a lot of the internal stuff that I know went on with the last one. Yeah, synthesis was my preferred ending, if that wasn't if there wasn't if that's what actually happened, right? Because then it's like everything's more connected and everything's more, but then again, you're talking to somebody who's literally becoming a robot, so it kind of already is like preferred route. However, if the synthesis is only if you watch any of the theories, like the crazy out there theories about synthesis is actually him giving into and turning into a husk, it's like, obviously that's my least favorite ending. And yeah, so it depends on how the story is looked at, but I would say for sure, most likely I would lean towards cybe synthesis, because it's like Eva and crap, I forget his name, the robot chicken guy. If they, the thought of them getting together that way is like, oh, that's really cool. I like that. That's a pretty good ending. I could go with that. So yeah. Yeah. No, I think that works. Anyway, so yeah, we're done with this, because it's basically just, oh, sorry, it's Eddie. Sorry, Eddie, not Eva. I don't know why I was thinking Eva. You sure it's it? Okay, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Eva.
Anyways, yeah.
All right. Very cool. Mass Effect, very cool. It's good to hear it has a future. Hopefully they do it right. Hopefully they've learned from mistakes in the past. We'll find out. I mean, Anthem doesn't give us great hope for that, but we will see. I mean, we'll also see what happens as far as EA another EA title, of course, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I know people are hesitant because it's got the EA label on it. I even cringed a bit having to put the logo on the thumbnail and the podcast graphic today because it's got the EA logo built right into it there. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, this won't be a long story. Bottom line, Rockstar's recommended specs for Red Dead Redemption 2 were hugely underestimates. And the game also launched with just a ton of bugs and problems, like completely game crashing, crash to desktop type scenarios. And even their own launcher was having problems. There were bugs with the launcher, and the launcher was crashing. So it was kind of a disastrous thing. Like a large percentage of the users of this game were affected by a bunch of these issues. And it really appears like they didn't do a ton of optimization for PC. The recommended specs they put out are vastly different from the ones put out by NVIDIA. Like NVIDIA recommended their much higher graphics cards in order to run at decent graphical specs at 1080p. Now, is NVIDIA trying to upsell you because they're marketing their graphics cards? Well, I mean, I suppose that is a possibility, but it does appear that there's some very poor optimization there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, it's mostly due to the fact that this is so poorly optimized for the PC. I really wonder what on earth they've been doing. Or
they've been swimming around in all that money they made, of course. Doing the Scrooge McDuck thing, except hopefully they're using paper bills and not actual gold coins, because that would hurt a lot diving into that.
There's no current system that can push that game to its pinnacle, and that's what's like, wow, you're so bad at optimizing that you can't get you. If I give you the most powerful PC that we can set up within the realm of like possibility / what's publicly available for computers today, we can't push the game's graphical engine to ultra, and it doesn't look as good as most other games being released on the PC right now that are within the same genre.
Yeah.
Tara
K has a comment here. It's GTA 4 levels of bad optimization.
Mm-hmm.
They're as bad as Rockstar. Oh wait, it is.
They
Rockstar.
are Rockstar.
TCHI OBI. Don't recognize your username. Welcome if you are new to the podcast. Says it's poorly optimized for NVIDIA. After the patches, it works quite good with Vulkan drivers, not with DirectX 12. I have a GTX 1080. Yes, there have been I believe there was a day 2 patch that came out that supposedly, did help somewhat. But mostly want to caution everybody that if you are, if you're following Rockstar's recommended specs, you may be disappointed. Also, they've got an atrocious return policy.
Yeah.
If you pre-ordered this game, especially if you pre-ordered it more than 14 days in advance, you can't return the game. And if you bought a special edition that redeems like in-game currency or some sort of digital good on your Rockstar account, you can't return it at all ever. They don't offer refunds for that. So just be careful wading into this one.
Yeah. It's not very good.
James Fullerton says, hopefully they get smacked by the ACCC. Agreed, yes, and that's the organization that recently brought the hammer down on Bethesda and said, no, you've got to offer refunds here in Australia for your crappy broken product. That's over there in Australia. We're not in Australia, but that's where they are. So they're saying, here in Australia, we have certain laws about this kind of thing. So you can't just do whatever you want. You can't just release a broken product and then say, oh no, you can't return it. It's ridiculous. Bethesda there's more bad news about Bethesda. We're not going to go into it really here, but things are just getting worse with them and what they're doing with their Fallout First subscription. It's a disaster. We will, at some point in the future, we're going to be covering Bethesda and what's been going on with them. Sibes digging into some stuff. And so we're going to try and sort all of that out, but we don't have it. Yeah. We don't have it laid out. We don't have it. We don't have enough verified at this point.
I'll touch on it very briefly. So it's very interesting that right now, so Bethesda is owned by ZeniMax, but a lot of their stuff is really segmented. So all of their studio, it's not like EA, really. It's really not quite like EA, or any of these other companies where it's like more of the company, the companies have more autonomy.
Autonomy, yeah.
Yeah. They have more autonomy than most other companies from themselves. Todd is in charge of Bethesda Game Studios, and he's the public face of the company and as the games as a whole. He does not have any control over day-to-day operations of any other studio other than Bethesda Game Studio. He can do suggesting, and he can suggest stuff, and he can certainly give recommendations, but he's not actually involved in any of the other day-to-day stuff. And neither is Pete Hines. So right now, the control over 76, the failure, everybody's most hated thing, the control over 76 is quite, and in fact, not tied to Bethesda Game Studio. They were only briefly involved, kind of in the early days of the launch, and then it was basically hands off from there. For the most part, it was hands off through the entirety of the process. So, yeah, there's not that many. There's not that much crossover, and this is really important to know, because basically we'll say, well, who's making all the bad decisions? Well, that's somebody else, supposedly. Because these studios are segmented, and this project is under the ruling hand of somebody new at the company, at ZeniMax as a whole, a new face that is behind a lot of the money that's gone into the R&D for the company. They got a big investor who put in a lot of money for R&D, and basically they said that they wanted to control over one of the bigger titles that were coming out so that they could monetize it and make a huge profit. That is, as far as we understand, that is currently 76. So it certainly kind of makes sense as to what's going on at the company. So it's kind of wonky and weird. And I don't know how else to put it. It's just weird. But we're looking more into this. We're trying to figure out some stuff. We're trying to get some finalization on this info, because if it turns out that this company is the ones that have been pulling the strings, and that the rumors that we're hearing are true, it means that a lot of people have been looking at this kind of incorrectly. So, including us, that would include us. So naturally, we want to make sure before we go ahead and spout off on this, because a lot of people are blaming Todd, but Todd can't exactly defend himself on this, so we don't really know the truth because of the difference of what's going on. So so that's about that.
All right, awesome. You're listening to the Augmented Reality Podcast, your source for news, leaks, and insights about games and the gaming industry. And if you want to keep the conversation, the excellent conversation that's going on in the live chat, and the conversation between you and us. By the way, if you're not listening live and you're not taking part in the live chat, it's a lot of fun. There's a great conversation going on behind the scenes, that you're not seeing. If you will see it if you watch it back on YouTube. If you watch it, it does replay the live chat, but of course you can't participate in it. If you're listening on audio, I mean, not disparaging that at all, of course. But there is a great conversation going on in the live chat here on YouTube while we're doing this, and it's always really fun to read through it. It's the reason we do this live. We could pre-record it, we could edit it and polish it up a little more, but then we don't have that interactive element, and that really, I believe, is what makes this show great. It makes it really fun to do, and it really pushes things to the next level. So we really love that. But if you want to keep the conversation going after the broadcast, you can join our Discord community. You'll find the link in the description below. It's a place where you can chat with us and other Triple S fans about all the things we love to talk about and stay up to date about everything we're doing here at the Triple S League. And by the way, if you are a channel member and you're on our Discord server, not sure if maybe you're not aware of this, you can link your YouTube account to your Discord account, and then you get a shiny gold colored name on Discord, and you go into our Big Damn Heroes category. That's a special perk for channel members. And I'm bringing that up because Tara K just signed up for membership today, and he's the first one to actually show up in that gold color on our Discord server. So I'm just not sure if nobody else has been interested in that, or if maybe you're not aware of it. So you can definitely do that, and also let us know if there's anything else we can offer to incentivize that membership anymore. We want to give you something of value for that money if you choose to support us financially. I mean, that's huge for us. It's huge for us that you would actually choose to put your own money into this. It's incredible. And so yeah, if there's anything we can do for you, for you who are channel members, or if you're interested in becoming one, let us know. We'd really like to hear that. And if you can't, and N7 Myth says, sorry, I'm broke AF. That is totally okay. You know what? We just love that you're here. Honestly, we just love that everybody's part of this community. It's fantastic. Gonna do an ad read now, because we actually do have a sponsor, believe it or not. We're getting up in the world. Actually, you will have heard of this before, but our sponsor is Toynk Toys, Toynk. I used to pronounce it Toy NK. No, it's actually pronounced Toynk, and that's good, because then it doesn't have that association with a certain incredibly authoritarian nation, and we're not talking about China this time. So yeah, Toynk Toys, great website for finding all kinds of nerdy collectibles, games, toys, apparel, that kind of a thing. It's fantastic. Use the link in the description on this podcast, and you can that helps to support the channel. We would get a kickback then if you actually buy something from the website. But if you have some Christmas shopping to do for that nerdy person in your life, we'd recommend it. They actually do have some great stuff on their website, and I'm going to show you one of them here that's on sale right now. The Legend of Zelda Look-See Collector's Box is on sale, more than 40% off. You can see a picture of it on the screen right now. It includes a Legend of Zelda Gold NES cartridge fleece throw blanket, a Hyrule Crest keychain multi-tool, Master Sword rubber cork stopper, so you can be your wine bottles will look incredibly epic. An official NES cartridge air freshener, a map of Hyrule tea towel set. I want that, not gonna lie. I want that for myself. I might look at ordering one of these. Legend of Zelda 8-bit heart paperweight, a Hyrule emblem pint glass, steel water bottle, and a glass candle holder. And all of that is on sale for more than 40% off right now. Plus, they offer free shipping for orders in the domestic United States, like inland United States. Unfortunately, I know there's a lot of you worldwide who listen, and you're not included in that. But if you do happen to live in the mainland United States, you can get free shipping on these orders. There's also tons of other awesome stuff there. Tons of other of these mystery boxes, plus just, other stuff you can get. And so when you're considering your Christmas shopping this year, it's definitely something you can check out, even if the person you're buying for is yourself. Don't you deserve a Christmas present from yourself? Why don't we get Christmas presents for ourselves, Saib? Have you ever thought about that? I
do every year.
I know human customs are kind of baffling for you, but anyway. So yeah, check that out.
It's better than the perfume I got last year. Last year's I picked up some perfume, and it was called Nothing. And it turns out that there was nothing in the bottle. So I guess if you want to be a big hit, just wear nothing. But yeah, yeah, it was kind of. I'm really terrible with gifts. Like I'm horrible with them. Like I always I'm really gullible in what like salespeople tell me. So I don't go anywhere where there's salesmen anymore. Because they're like, oh yeah, everybody loves this. Oh really? Cool. Because again, I'm really trusting. Like, why would somebody lie? I don't lie. Why would somebody else not lie? Like, why would somebody else lie? Oh man, I've run into lots of problems
It's
because of
it's a difficult world for trusting people. It definitely is.
well, it's that. It's also like I take everything literal, so it's like so it's, I'll tell you a funny story. So have my I get a company car, and they say, okay, you have to keep this fuel card in the company car at all times. You cannot leave the company car. So I'm like, okay. So next time I gas up, I got to gas up, and then I got to drive the car into the gas station, and then unroll the window, and then use the card to pay for the gas.
Oh, you mean like into the part where you pay, like into the little store thing?
Yeah. And I'm like, wait a second, something does not compute here. Something does not compute. I don't think it's wise to drive a vehicle into. Well, that's stupid. Why did he tell me that then? So yeah, that's welcome to my world. Yeah, that's what I have to deal with on a daily basis. It's so great.
We're working on that. We're working on upgrading your systems to understand that kind of communication nuance. All right, everybody. There was a question in the chat I wanted to get to quickly. James Fullerton asks, do you think Nintendo will release an N64 Classic anytime soon? Do you have any info on that side?
No, the Switch is doing really, 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 really well right now. This is something, as we saw with the Nintendo, they kind of put it out between generation type things, right? And they put it out just kind of as a special to like move a lot of stock. They are going to be doing that again in the future, but they don't want to oversaturate the market. So right now the Switch is selling really, really well. It's like going to be one of the top buys this year. I was at Costco the other night, and I saw like 3 giant pallets of the stuff. So I was like, okay, well, they're anticipating on selling a lot of those. So yeah, I think that's going to be I think that's going to be another big buy this year. Everybody seems to be quite good at it, and even I've been tempted with it recently, just kind of looking at it, going, it's such a handy little device. It can be mobile, it can be, it can be at home, it can be a console. It's like this is a really great idea, and honestly, think that there's a lot of room to grow in this with this concept. So yeah, looking at it going, okay, I think that's good. So no, I don't think we won't get a 64 this year or maybe next year, but I do think we're going to get it within the next 6 years. It's just when the timing is right, that's when they'll pop it out, right? I think that's really kind of what it boils down to. Right now, they have a really good thing going with the Switch, and they don't want to introduce something else into the system to kind of upset the balance of how many units are being sold.
That makes a lot of sense.
But absolutely, this is something that they probably have already several different basically working models of, like prototypes of, because this is something that they're going to do eventually. But it's not something that they're going to do right away. So yeah, so just kind of wait on it. I think their goal will be to do it on big anniversaries, or kind of tied in with like waiting time periods and jumps and stuff like that. And I think that makes sense. And I really like the original concept that they took with, or that they ran with. I wish that they had done that ages ago. I still wish that they would do that again, sooner. But that's not profitable. That's not the best format of profitable to do that way. But yeah, a lot of these companies are now starting to like hold on to all of their code, because you never know when a 50-year-old game is going to suddenly become popular again for some reason. And of course, I'm exaggerating with the 50. There's no 50-year-old games.
Mm-hmm.
Aside
Well, I
from that
mean,
one.
technically, there were video games in the 70s, so we're getting close.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, video games, like, I was reading about the first, like, what would the absolute first thing that could be considered a video game was, and it was a long time ago. And of course, I'm sure it ran very poorly. But anyway, yeah, I've enjoyed my Switch. My kids are playing it right now, as a matter of fact. The Switch, the light version of the Switch, just came out. Not sure I would recommend that one. You cannot detach the controllers. It's got less powerful hardware. It becomes kind of just like a typical portable machine at that point. I don't know that you can dock it and have it connect to your TV. It becomes like an exclusively a mobile gaming system. But the regular Switch with the detachable Joy-Cons, where you can put it in the dock, and it can connect to your TV through HDMI, or you can carry it with you and game on the go. Yeah, all of those great features, and there's some good games for it, as like The Outer Worlds is on there. James Fullerton points out Witcher 3 is on there now, and he's wondering about how Witcher 3 sales are doing on the Switch. Do we know anything about that?
They're doing okay.
Yeah.
We know that. We don't know anything for sure yet, because nothing's been put out officially. So as far as we know, it's been doing okay.
Okay.
What we don't know, if that means it's been doing just okay, or if it's been doing absolutely stellar. And we won't know that until they roll out their own numbers. Because again, most companies in most places in the world don't have to report this stuff in any way, shape, or form. And so you don't really know exactly how many units are being sold. So it's kind of wonky and weird, but yeah.
Right. All right.
And then
We should.
Manning is asking about whether or not I know how if the delay is really big for the NVIDIA series. Um, Again, I don't like, as far as analysts go, unless they have like a really, 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 really spot on track record of being absolutely right anytime they open their mouth. Like, approach everything they say with a grain of salt. Um, I have not heard of a delay through NVIDIA, but other than the there was always a kind of an expected delay. But where that leaves them, I don't know. They're certainly up against the wall here on this one, because they didn't crack the whole ray tracing thing when everybody else, or when their competitor did. So they are a little bit behind, and they're rushing to try and catch up, and they're rushing to try and get stuff out. So you can make mistakes when you're doing that, but you can also improve yourself by doing that. Like, stress is actually a really good thing for making something stronger and better in certain circumstances. Um, you know, there's, of course, tungsten does really good under stress. Some other stuff, and so this is kind of like, this is kind of obviously where they want to go. So it's interesting to see, but we'll wait to see on that one, because again, it's gonna be probably up in the air. And my original suggestion is, right, is like, unless you can get an absolutely amazing deal on Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Boxing Day, if you can get an amazing deal, upgrade. But you might want to wait to upgrade until January, February, and you may want to, yeah, if you really need an upgrade quite badly, and you can fit it in your budget, get something on that's considerably on sale on Cyber Monday or Black Friday. Like something where it's like it's clear that you're saving 50%. If you do that, I think you'll be okay for tech going forward for the next year or so. But also don't necessarily jump at something just because it's 20% off. A 20% off sale is nothing. That's going to show up in February, 6 ways to Sunday. A 10%, obviously, it's going to be everywhere, forever. But yeah, if you can get it at 50% off, then go for that. 40%, it might still be worth it. That's up to you. 30%, that's getting a little tighter. But where tech is going to be in a year from now is going to be quite advanced from where it is now, but that doesn't help you if you want to be playing, Cyberpunk soon. But also don't, like, as we mentioned on the Wednesday show, is like we're hearing that there is some delays with some other stuff, some other related things. So don't necessarily don't book time off for Cyberpunk 2077. I wouldn't book that time off until probably somewhere closer to like February. Yeah. Just to be on the safe side. Just to be on the safe side. We know that they want to do that, but yeah. And N7, you're 100% correct. Yeah. 100% correct. Okay. All the stuff that came out about that this week, good Lord. I don't like, wow. It's, yeah. I should mention that, so not related to that in any way, shape, or form, and certainly not related to other big things that are currently going on. We may or may not have a show on Wednesday, so just kind of bear that in mind. This Wednesday show might be postponed or temporarily on hiatus. Ash is going on some kind of a vacation, and I am definitely running around doing something that is super, 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 super high profile that I definitely cannot talk about. So yeah, and it's nothing to do with the show or gaming or anything like that. It's other job related, but I guarantee you have heard of it, and it is a big thing. But yeah, I'm working on that. So
all right.
Yeah, so just about our schedule shift, we might have to pause Wednesday's show, but we'll be back Saturday for sure.
Okay. So Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, let's talk about that. We're past the 1 hour mark here, so we should carry on. Jedi Fallen Order, unfortunately, is coming out. Well, not unfortunately, it's coming out next week, the 15th. Unfortunately, while I'm on vacation, I am taking. After today, I'm on vacation for a week with the family. It's going to be a good time, so I will see you all back. I'm going to be missing 2 regular podcast days. You will, however, still get some content from me next week thanks to YouTube scheduling. I am doing... I'm trying out an Outer Worlds playthrough where I'm basically doing an evil/dumb character playthrough. So, I've been having fun making it. I hope you have fun watching it. So there's going to be a few episodes of that coming out next week. But anyway, speaking of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, so that comes out on the 15th, and there have been some... The Xbox and PlayStation achievements have been released, and or they've been posted on the websites, and they reveal some interesting stuff about the game. That has got me more and more interested. It's been interesting with this game because at first it looked like, oh, this is going to be sort of a linear Star Wars title. And then we started hearing, oh, this is going to actually have more of an open world to it rather than just linear missions. And it's going to have more strategic combat, more like a Soulsborne style game type combat, not in terms of difficulty, but in terms of, the blocking, the dodging, the way that the combat works. And so it's going to be more than just button mashing hack and slashing with your lightsaber kind of combat. So, and that sounded very interesting. And now we've got some more information. So some of these achievements that have been posted. Some people are saying leaked. They're not leaked. They've just been posted. So there's some funny ones like kicking back, kick a fillic that has kicked you. I don't know what that is, but that just sounds fun. But then there's some more interesting ones that sort of reveal more about the gameplay. For example, legendary beasts defeat 4 mysterious creatures. I mean, if that doesn't get your curiosity up, I don't know what will. It certainly has.
These are really starting to make me think more along the lines of like the original Jedi Knight Dark Forces games. This is what this is feeling like, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. But with more, like, again, more of an open world and more strategic combat than those games had. Like, those games were fantastic, and if they found a way to capture that kind of a feel, but also improve on the formula, that's fantastic. There's Feel the Force, which you get for unlocking all Jedi skills. There's a whole bunch. I'm just going through some of the highlights. Like, there's a bunch of the typical ones, like collect all of these things, defeat an enemy, defeat 12 enemies by kicking them in the forehead. Like, your typical, that's not a real one, I made that up, but that's the type of, there's those types of achievements, but then there's some of the more interesting ones that tell us about the gameplay. For example, for a more civilized age, the achievement is achieved by crafting a lightsaber. So that's really interesting. So there's going to be lightsaber crafting. And there's also some for customizing the appearance of... that's below the fold here, so I'll get to that one when I scroll down to it. There's I Knew He Was No Good, which is for defeating a former Jedi Master. And now that's got my wheels turning. Is that going to be like an established character in the Star Wars universe that's going to, come out and you have to defeat them? Or is it a character that they made for the game? Could go either way, but that's definitely interesting. Blade Master. Hit a single enemy with all lightsaber types. So multiple lightsaber types. Plus, you got Sabersmith, which is unlocked when you fully customize your lightsaber. So there's going to be some customization, of course, that can happen. That could be functional things. That could also be visual things. And then the full glow up, which you get this achievement if you customize the look of Cal, BD-1, which is your little droid buddy who rides around on your back, and the Mantis, which is your ship. So there's going to be some visual customization options. Had no idea.
I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm hoping that this is going to be done well. And the more I hear about it, the more I think, yeah, it is going to be done well. I really think it is at this point, because this is looking really, really solid. So really excited. Really think that we're potentially going to see something brand new out of the box, in the form of basically they've taken all the old games that we love and they've basically just replicated them. So that's the joke. It's not new. It's what I expected there to be when the new Star Wars stuff got going. I'm like, great, we're gonna get a new Dark Forces / Jedi Academy game, and then it never came. And it's been almost 10 years, and it still isn't here. Except maybe it's finally getting close. The only thing that again still really sucks is that I really just don't click with the main character. It's like I want customization. I didn't want there to be another I didn't want them to force another protagonist on us. I mean, their Star Wars' choices of protagonists in the last few years has been kind of disgustingly gross. as far as like, being able to like choose your own kind of thing. It's like, I want to make my own protagonist. That's what I want to do. I want to customize my own protagonist. I don't want this protagonist, but that's my personal taste, right?
I do agree with you on this one. Honestly,
which is why I want a character creator, and they had one for Academy, even though Academy was part of the lore back then before all the lore got erased, and there was a canon one, which was just like person, but you had the ability to like mix and match, and it's like, well, if I have the ability to mix and match, what, like, just give me the ability to mix and match here. Like, seriously.
I do agree with you on this one. On this one, this would have been an ideal title to have a character creator, and I think that would have garnered even more interest in it. Anyway.
Right? Playing as a Cathar would be awesome. I prefer Twi'leks because it's kind of cool and different, and it's like I've never seen another character with a head thing like the Twi'leks. Like that's a unique to Star Wars thing. So that's pretty awesome. But yeah. Yeah.
One final one I wanted to highlight here: Scum and Villainy. Defeat each type of bounty hunter. So it sounds like we'll have bounty hunters coming after us, or else we'll be encountering them in some way, shape, or form. So anyway, I am very curious for this game. Now, I do understand there's a lot of skepticism about this, and that's completely understandable.
Oh yeah. And so Legacy made a really good point the other day. He was saying that he's worried that if the game does well, that they're just going to use this as a launching point to get other people into live services and loot boxes and that kind of stuff. That's a valid concern. He's also worried that if this is not a big hit or doesn't move as many boxes as they want it to, that the game is going to be labeled as, see, nobody wants a unique RPG with like good elements. They want to sit in front of a screen and open loot boxes all day long at $10 a box. Like, that's what they want. And so really it feels like we're in a lose-lose situation with EA, which we have been in for a really long time. EA could not make a hit game if their life depended on it without resorting to like, buying a whole bunch of streamers off all at the same time and then paying for positive coverage on their game. Apex Legends.
Of course, yeah. I was going to say, why does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Sounds like they've already tried that. Absolutely. So, and if it's a runaway success, EA really lucked in.
Well,
this was in development
again,
before.
remember what I said back when the whole this thing originally announced and everything was going on. What they did with Respawn is like, hey, Respawn, we need you to make a game that has loot boxes, is a battleground battle royale type game, single map, and just has some interesting characters like Overwatch, so that we could make tons and tons and tons and tons of money. And we want you to say that we had nothing to do with this, so that so that we can smile and nod and convince all the useful idiots out there that this really wasn't our idea, and we actually had nothing to do with this at all. And then that worked. It worked. A lot of people were like, "Oh my god, this is the best game ever," and EA had nothing to do with it. It's like, you think that Respawn made the exact game that EA wanted them to make and that they didn't have a say in this? Like, seriously. I always wondered, like, never mind, I won't say that. It's just kind of sad and crazy and whatever. But it was good marketing. Like, it was like, I know the person who was responsible for that, and it was a brilliant move on their part. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, do it this way. So that's out. That comes out. Yada yada yada. Now there's a little bit of a different thing going on, because when EA showed up at Respawn again to say, hey, okay, now we want you to make this game. It's gonna be a Star Wars thing, and yeah, we just want you to like cram in loot boxes. They said, Oh, you remember that thing where you said that, our last game did so well because you weren't involved? Let's try that again. But we were involved. You know that we were involved. Yeah, but you went on record saying that you weren't. So this time you're not going to be involved. And we're just going to decide what to do. But what about my loot boxes? Sorry. You'll have to just be happy with the millions and millions of copies that will sell. And so, yeah, it was a turnaround. It was a brilliant turnaround, and it's really funny to watch them squirm now. 100% laugh this off.
No, it absolutely is.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there is some. There are a lot of people credibly wondering if they're going to cram in microtransactions a few months after release, if they're going to do
I am
these
sure
different things.
I am positive that will probably happen, because basically EA, whoever's running whoever's running the game, months down the road, it's not going to be the main person, and that person is probably going to be susceptible to be like, hey, okay, look, we're going to be doing all these cosmetics, okay, for the whole Mandalorian series, and that's going to come out, and it's going to be awesome, and so we need you to put this and this and this and this in there, and you better do this, or you're going to be fired, and you'll never work in this town again. It's like, that's probably going to happen, but at launch, you play through it, get through it, and then never have to buy the microtransactions. I think that would be worth it, because nothing's better than when they do put out the microtransactions when nobody buys them. But that's kind of a difficult thing to pull off, because
for a single player title like this seems like it would be very difficult for them to really get much traction.
I said the same thing for Shadow of Mordor and Assassin's Creed. So
yeah, but I mean, if they're implementing them after the fact, I'm not sure about Shadow of Mordor, but Assassin's Creed had them in from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they're right there. People who are playing through the game, some people are going to bite, some people are going to buy them for sure. But if they introduce them 3 months down the road, where the people who were most excited for this game have already finished it and moved on, how are they going to do that? That doesn't seem like it. But I mean, like you said, I would not put it past them. I mean, that's unfortunate if that does happen. And, we'll have strong words about that if it does happen. But anyway, for those of you who are skeptical about it, so I saw somebody posting earlier in the chat that they're going to wait 6 months. If it's got good reviews and, it runs well and it doesn't have any after-the-fact microtransactions, then they'll consider buying it. Totally fair stance. Absolutely. If you've got any reservations about this at all, definitely hang on to that. There's other games you can check out, other games you can play, and we'll get into this, and we'll give you our impressions on it as quickly as we can.
There already is a how do you say it? There's already cosmetic content that you can get via pre-ordering, so the system's already built into the game. So yeah. So that's it's already there.
And Bagheera brings up a good point. It would have worked with Odyssey because of the way they implemented their DLCs. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if they were planning to do DLC for this game, and by the time the DLC comes out, you have the cash shop in there. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. So we'll have to see. It is EA. We'll see what kind of level of scummery they are willing to bow to. I mean, of course, they promised that there wouldn't be that stuff, but this is EA. They lie.
Yeah. So this is also single player. There's no mention of multiplayer. I don't think it's in the decks for this game. And the primary reason for that is because the real multiplayer, for all you people who are asking about multiplayer for this game, you guys all know that EA's got this amazing game called Battlefront 2. In fact, it's a great game, and you can pick it up now for, a lot of money on the Origin store. And we know y'all want to, because it's an amazing game, because it's so good. And there's there's this cool system in it where you can get rewards by opening random containers full of loot. And that's so cool that you have to pay a lot of money for. But it's really awesome, and we really think you should come and check it out. That this is what this is for.
Right.
And this might be why we never actually get loot boxes or microtransactions other than expansions within the Fallen Order. But what they might do is they might suggest that if you like this game, then you're really, really going to love. I mean, you're really, really going to love this other game called Battlefront 2. You're really going to love that game. So, yeah.
Cuckoo, I just want to address your comment here. Cuckoo says, if it will require the EA launcher, then I will pass. Well, you might be passing on this one then, because you do have to link your Steam and Origin accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that means that it's going to, if you launch the game through Steam or something like that, that it will then open the Origin launcher. I don't know if that means that.
So this incorporates a third-party DRM, EA Online, Activision, and Origin client software installation, and background use is required.
Okay.
So again, you do have to put Origin, but this is merely due to the fact that they are, as I have it on pretty good authority, that Origin is being phased out. It's not being phased out right away. There is Origin Access Pass and all this other kind of stuff, and they will want a way to advertise and get you, get you into the Origin service somehow for future stuff. But they realized that Origin was a whopping failure in all of its possible formats. It was just a complete and total failure. So yeah, just bear that in mind.
Right. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. That's the most annoying thing for me, I think, is that I'll have to open Origin, link my Origin and Steam accounts, all that garbage. That's really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But I am interested enough in this that I definitely want to check it out for myself, but I also want to do some content for it, give our impressions of it on the channel. So we'll be doing that. I mean, I'll be diving into it as soon as I'm back in a couple of weeks. Well, when I'm back in a week from my week of time off, I'll be diving into that. Also trying to get more Outer Worlds content out there. All right. I think that's about it for the podcast today. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you for the great conversation in the chat. And thank you for supporting this show by listening live or after the fact. Slamming that like button. Please do that before you leave. Leaving comments, interactions, all of that really helps. That really keeps the algorithm happy. And also, joining channel memberships, that kind of a thing. We appreciate that as well. I want to thank our big damn heroes on Patreon, Old Man Manson, and our 2 anonymous supporters. Also, our channel members here on YouTube, Jason Cropper, Mr. Padzernick, Jer Schultz, Game Notes, Paul Young, Night City Punk, and our newest member, Terror K. Thank you all so very much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate this bi-weekly content. We put out 2 podcasts a week live on the channel, plus more videos as well, so check out the channel if you haven't. If you're listening after the fact on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, or any of the other platforms this podcast goes out to, we appreciate your interactions on those platforms as well. And don't forget, you can join the live show on YouTube Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, where you can interact with us and other listeners, be a part of the discussion. See the Discord server for exact times and schedule. Also check out our sponsor, Toink Toys. Use the link in the description. Find all of the nerdy collectibles, clothing, games, mystery boxes that you can think of. And they've got some good stuff there. The Augmented Reality Podcast is a presentation of the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, news updates, and tons more quality gaming content. My name is Ashenity on behalf of Cybsidian. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll talk to you again. I'll see you in a week. And Cyb will still be around. But we will talk to you very soon.